6 years plus. Unbelievable. Have they got their man? Is Richard Allen the killer of Libby and Abby? He's not looking too good lately. Wow. We're at a crossroads once again in this case of the Delphi murders. And Richard Allen is in pretty bad shape. I don't know if it's by design or what the heck's going on, or if he's being mistreated or not given enough food. I understand he's been eating paper, some of his legal documents. Such a sharp contrast to Brian Koberger out on the West Coast. Brian seems to be doing pretty good, lavishing in his notoriety. He's still sharp, looks the same. Recent pictures released of him. Whereas alleged bridge guy is not so much. So, what's going on? This is Sutclif, faithfully converting oxygen into carbon dioxide on a daily basis. Glad to share some thoughts with you of the recent developments. There have been document dumps, or whatever you want to call them. Some more information being released in little trickles. And the more I read it and hear about it, I realize how wrong most of us have been in our speculation on this case of the Delphi murders. I mean, everybody got it wrong. I made some statements that I got wrong. Well, we shall see. The biggest statement that I made that I got wrong was that the murders occurred in one location and the bodies were moved to another. And that's not an unusual thing. I just had some material that made me think that way, that it was possible that there could be a secondary location. There are some good theories out there in support of that. Who knows? It still could be true. We'll have to wait and see. So now the thing is there going to be a trial for the Delphi murders? Richard Allen is going to have to be examined by professionals. They might not say he's fit. And what's this other crap about Richard Allen telling his wife that he was the killer of Libby and Abby? He's confessed to her, supposedly, allegedly. Wow. That could be for a number of reasons, even if he's not guilty. It just said he's going mad there in that jail cell. They'll have to do a psych exam on him. Maybe he's faking some symptoms to get something. Maybe he wants to plea. If he pleads out and they make a deal with him, there won't be a trial, ladies and gentlemen. Everything we've been waiting for, all the glitz and lights and cameras and Francis Seagull and the whole deal, we won't be able to see anything. And most of that will be done behind closed doors. It'll just be a sentencing phase, right? Wonder how that works. There'll be a lot of legality involved in that. And if they do go to trial and try the case, who's on the prosecution side? Well, we know the prosecutor is Nicholas McLeland. He's a fairly young guy, but what kind of experience does he have in death penalty cases? If they pursue the death penalty, which I would imagine they would. So... But there might not be any trial at all, so we're going to wait and sit that out. But the mere fact that they came up with this suspect, Richard Allen, is just out of so many years of it, no one else even getting it. And his name wasn't mentioned anywhere, and we had the best of the best YouTubers on the case, and there's so many people on the case now. It's just grown in mushrooms from the humble beginnings of February 13th, 2017, when Libby and Abby came missing. What a wild ride it's been. And Ron Logan, and Who's the other guy with RL? What the heck's his name? Robert Lindsay? You all remember Robert Lindsay, don't you? Can't believe it. There was a time when Ron Logan was suspected of being Bridge Guy. Had nothing to do with it. Keegan Kline probably has nothing to do with it either. And some people think he was Bridge Guy. No, too doofy. No way. No way! So, where does that leave us? Leaves me with a pit in my stomach and just beside myself trying to figure out what's going to happen next. But ladies and gentlemen, if it's not Richard Allen, if Richard Allen is not Bridge Guy, which I'm beginning to think he is more and more every day, and I'm still using the word alleged, but if it's not Richard Allen, who is it? Now stop and think for a minute. Who in your mind is the secondary suspect if it's not Richard Allen? Who the hell else could it be? And this conservation officer that he was talking to the day of the murders in the same clothes and all, who is this person? Is he being protected? Is he in the witness protection program? We don't know anything about him, just a conservation officer. What the hell is that? Like a ranger? Like Ranger Smith? I can't wait for that to come out and see what the heck this guy's going to say, and when he does some explaining, or he probably will never show his face in public. Whoever the hell he is, whoever the hell you are, that's mind-boggling. They could have solved the case so long ago. But better late than never, you know. So we're getting more information released little by little, trickling down. The biggest development is some of the documents that, I don't know where they came from, I briefly heard about it, but they do admit that a knife was involved. And Richard Allen allegedly had a lot of knives at his property, a lot of guns, a lot of knives. And so they're saying that a knife was used. They didn't say that that was a murder weapon or that's what killed the girl. They just said a knife was used. So we still don't know anything if there's sexual molestation or sexual assault, or we don't even know why, the who, what, why, when, where. I don't really know anything. Well, we know where. But, so it's still, let us have it, release more information. I don't know what the next step is in the proceedings. You can get that from one of the other legal beagles out there. That chick over there in the Netherlands that's giving Gray Hughes such a ratings decline. Hey Gray, you finally met your match, that chick in the Netherlands, Gilisa? I don't know what her name is. She's good. So I've heard. So our boy Richard talked to his wife and admitted that he was the killer of Libby and Abby. So just how the court's going to accept that, you know, besides getting a psych test, you know, running through, see if he... You're not even allowed to plead guilty unless you go through proper channels. I did it. Yeah, we'll decide whether you did. It'd be funny if he insists that he is the killer and they find someone else. And they're like, no, you, it's this guy. No, it was me. Ask the conservation officer. I'm telling you would-be killers out there that are listen and watch these videos and get excited and masturbate and stuff when you see pictures of Maddie and Kaylee. You guys are really in for a wild ride. Whatever you think in your little pea brains that you're going to get away with, you're not going to get away with it. Even in the 70s, before DNA and video cameras everywhere, those serial killers were getting caught too. It's just a matter of time. You better find another hobby, one that's a little more healthy, like horseshoes or something. But this idea you think you're going to be a big shot, go kill a... Oh no, there's a cat that just jumped up here. If he steps on my keys, say hi, puss. Say hi to the people. Ah. Now that's a smart puss. Stepped right over the keys and didn't hit a single one. That's the kind of puss to have. Good puss. Good pussy. Yeah. So, where was I? I lost my chain of thought. Oh yeah. If you're a wannabe slasher, forget about it. Forget about it. Go watch a porno and jerk off or something, but don't go out and murder promising young women. It's usually only the pretty ones too. Sad but true. Ask any FBI agent. But in this day and age, you're going to get caught, so I wouldn't risk it unless you're a dumbass and you want to get caught and you think prison life is better than what you have. You better bring the Vaseline. So getting back to Richard Allen and Brian Koberger, Hamburger, does Richard get any love letters? Or I know that he's married still, so that might detour some women, but yeah, not always. So Richard doesn't have the charisma that Koberger has. So Koberger gets all the mail and the nude pictures and stuff like that, and Richard Allen probably gets, what would he get? He might get some cash from someone that feels he didn't do it. If he didn't do it, then it's awful what they're putting him through. It's really absolutely awful. I want the real person caught as much as anybody else, but man, oh man, is that what prison life is like? He shouldn't even be in a prison. He's supposed to be in a jail until the trial. Here's a question for you all. Did Richard Allen, at any time that you all know of, take a polygraph? Did Richard Allen agree to be polygraphed? And if so, what were the results of that polygraph? Don't know? I don't know either. That's why I posed the question. So, how about the reward money? Nobody's talking about that. You got to be sensitive and not talk about those kind of things. What about the reward? Anybody know anything about the reward money? If there is a conviction, even if he pleads guilty and there's a conviction without a trial, that's still an arrest and conviction. Somebody's going to get some money. Some money, honey. I want to know more about it. So, if someone can make a video or tell me in the comments section what was the deal with the polygraph and the reward money. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's talk about the gun. Supposedly that was in the recording that we didn't hear that Libby made on her cell phone when she says it's supposed to be 40-some minutes long, the entire audio and video, or at least audio, I don't know about the video. And in it, Libby's heard, they believe it's Libby's heard to say the word gun, letting Abby know that Bridge Guy had a gun, do what he says. So let's explore this thing a little bit. I'm going to make a presentation for you guys, and I've watched a few of them already, but I'm going to show you all something about firearms, and I'm not an expert in firearms, nowhere near it. I just do some weekend target practice, but I'll give you a little basics of what they got here. Okay, this is a .25 semi-automatic handgun. It's very rare. It's not a Glock. It's not a Sig Sauer. It's made by a company called Intratec that is no longer in business. Intratec has the distinction of inventing the Tech 9. So this is a Miami-based company, and they sold a lot of these, which were used by the cocaine cowboys. I got this one in the early 80s, and I fired it probably no more than 15 times since I've had it, since like 1981. And it's very small, it's very concealable, and it's a .25. It takes 25 cartridges of bullets, 25 gauge. So the thing is, okay, let's say I'm going to make sure it's unloaded, okay. So I'm going to pull the clip out, and the clip is full, or magazine. If you're from the ghetto, you call it a clip. If you're like you and me, it's a magazine. This magazine holds 7 bullets, or 7 rounds. It's a copperhead. Lay that down on the side here. Now, we're going to check and make sure the gun's not loaded. Okay. We don't want to look in the barrel, but we can go like this. There's nothing in the barrel. Cock the action. I'm going to turn it around so you can see me do it, but I can't do it with my right hand. Well, if you wanted the chamber around, you pull it back, let it go, and there's your ching-ching sound that everyone would be scared to death. Now, if I had the magazine in here full and I did that, it would load around into the chamber, which is right here. They'd be around in there. It would be a hot gun. Hot stuff. Okay? If I pull it back again and let it go, it's going to flip that round out. It's going to eject it. Now that's what Bridge Guy evidently did with his gun, whatever caliber it was. Oh, and by the way, a 25 is rare. You can't even hardly get 25 ammunition. It's a little bigger than a 22. And it's an oddball bullet size, a 25. This is a highly collectible handgun. Highly collectible. All right, so anyway, let's take a look in here. I'm looking in the chamber, which I know you can't see it good because I can't pull it back with my left hand. But anyway, when I pulled it back, this was open right here where the chamber is. And you could see there was no bullets, there was no round in it. So in order to fire this gun, fire a bullet, I have to put the magazine back in, snap it closed, and do the action. And never fire it dry. If I did that and had no bullets and wanted to show you all the fire, you'll ruin the firing pin most likely. And this does not have a safety on it. The safety, there's no safety except the chamber, not having a bullet in the chamber or not. So anyway, what I'm getting at, is evidently Richard had the gun was loaded, and somehow he wanted to intimidate and scare the girls, maybe walking on the bridge. He didn't necessarily want to fire around, but he wanted them to know he meant business. So, he probably, this is with bullets in it. If he wasn't going to shoot it that day, he should have left the damn magazine at home, because he didn't fire any rounds. So, 45. Oh, okay, cool. So, evidently what he must have done to scare the girls that was around in it, he chambered it, and then he hit it again a second time when he was by the bodies and spit out the bullet without firing it. And the bullet has the marks of the little feelers. There's little mechanical parts inside here that decide whether it's going to keep the round or eject it. And it pushes it out, and theoretically you'll find that it matches. If it goes under forensic examination, you'll find that it matches the inside of the gun where it was ejected. And they can take measurements and say, yeah, well, this round, this shell casing came from this particular gun. Now, I don't know how many times that defense has been used, ladies and gentlemen. If it's a successful defense, I've never heard of it being used. Doesn't mean it hasn't been. This is a nifty little firearm. Keep it well lubricated. And somebody might say, oh, it's a 25, it's an oddball gun. This gun will put a hole through a man. So there's nothing wrong with it. It'll do exactly what it's supposed to do. It'll put a hole through you. But he didn't want to fire it that day. It would have made too much noise, would have attracted attention from everybody within a mile or more, especially through open woods like that. So if that's the only evidence, real hard evidence that the authorities have against Richard Allen, finding this unshot, unspent round in between the bodies of Libby and Abby, is it even worth, is it going to be allowed in? Is it a good defense? Has the defense been used successfully before? It's really weird. The whole thing's weird. If you're not going to use a gun, you shouldn't even bring it with you. So that's not what he wanted to do. Like others have said out here, that was intimidation to get the girls to stay in line, and it worked. So what about the DNA? Is there a lot of different DNA evidence? DNA didn't do much good in the O.J. trial. He was released. He was found not guilty regardless of DNA. And it was just getting pretty exact of a science by that time. So what other circumstantial evidence was? So some lady out there saw a guy walking like disheveled and muddy and bloody. That would get thrown out. What kind of expert is she to decide what blood looks like? it looks different after the air gets to it. It can be brown, it can be red, it could have been mud. So that witness will probably be kicked off or not allowed to testify to that. I don't know. I don't know, because now I'm going bananas, ladies and gentlemen, because I keep talking like there's going to be a trial. There might not be a trial, just the sentencing. And there'll be a lot of motions and stuff to go through before sentencing, and there will be testimony. I would believe there would still be testimony, right? But again, Richard might have confessed to his wife and other people in the jail just because he's just going mad. And he just needs a change. He doesn't care what it is. He's been through absolute hell for months and months, held in that jail, which jail's not supposed to be fun, but it's not really supposed to be cruel and unusual punishment either. Richard Allen is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So it's heating up. It should be interesting. But like I said before, the thing that gets me, so many of these experts were wrong on this. And how could they not know? How could they not look at Richard Allen and even suspect him after Doug Carter told them all, hey, it's somebody we know, it's someone in our hen house, there's a fox in our hen house, the horse has already left the barn, and sometimes the most obvious thing is very hard to see, and that's what happened here. And all these suspects through the years, and I don't even have a list of them. Somebody read off a list like Daniel Nations and Keegan Kline and all the whole mess of them. The other one that killed his girlfriend that's still in jail. I've forgotten half the names. I'd forget my you-know-what if it wasn't attached. So I don't know, this got me, the whole thing's got me perplexed now. Still want to see some more stuff released. It's good that they're on the fast track of doing that and letting the public know what's going on. So that's a shame. We kind of pretty much figured it out. Now, I thought that there was strangulation involved, and they didn't say anything about strangulation yet on any of the documents released. But that would be on the coroner's report, right? So we pretty much know that a knife was used. We don't know if there is any strangulation or sexual assault, but we did find out from the beginning that the bodies were staged, so that should be interesting. But let's hope we'll get some justice for Libby and Abby, and justice for those teenagers and young people out there in Moscow, Idaho. Sad story. And remember, if you do the crime, you're going to do the time, like they like to say. So I'm going to be waiting over the next few days to see how this confession thing goes. Can you imagine Brian Koberger confessing? No, he's too narcissistic. He's the big guy. You can tell by his expression. He ain't worried. Narcissists are like that. He's like, I'll get out of this, I'll just take my time to get out. I'm a law student. I'm smarter than they are. Richard Allen is just scared to death, and he's just looks like death warmed over and emaciated. So he could go mad. He could go mad, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard to believe how many people like to be institutionalized. There are plenty of people that want to go to jail. They want to live in jail. They like the jail life. They like the free food and sleep when you want and don't have to do anything if you don't want to. They don't have them on the chain gang anymore. So Charles Manson begged them not to release him from prison over in California. He just begged him. He said prison was the only life he ever knew. But they're like, sorry, your sentence is up, get out. So he's like, okay. Went to Hyde-Ashbury right in the rise of the drug culture, man. Right around 1967? 1967. The Manson, Sharon Tate murders occurred in July 69. Was it July or August? No, I think it was August 9th, 1969. The Tate murders. Close to that anyway. So we'll talk about Charlie another time. I like to talk about Charlie, and I have a little bit of knowledge of the Manson murders and some of the bad actors involved, and 80-year-old George Spahn, and it's all very fascinating to me. Well, I guess I'm going to go now. Nice talking to you and sharing my thoughts, and we'll do it again sometime. God bless. Bye-bye.